Morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. Let's give it a minute here and give everyone a chance to hop on and see the live notifications. Good morning. Good morning. What? Where's my ACIM book? Where did I put it? Right here. Okay, as everybody is hopping on, we are going to get started with perhaps what will be exactly what you need to hear today, right off the bat. So, all of you guys that are coming on live, seeing my IG live, this is for you. This is from Marianne Williamson's A Year of Miracles. And I like to flip to random days. So on day 201, okay, the message for you is today, how I do things is as important as what I do. Everything I do is infused with the energy in which I do it. I know that what I'm feeling is communicated subconsciously to everyone, and every thought I think creates form in some way. Taking responsibility for my energy is as important as taking responsibility for my behavior. And today I will do that. I seek in any situation to be a blessing, a miracle worker, an expander of love. That is my only goal, that I may experience true peace. Every thought, every feeling, every action has consequences beyond what we can see. You know what? I'm gonna reread that over again because everybody's kind of hopping on. So should have given another minute. I just jumped the gun because ACIM gets me really excited. All right. Good morning, Brooke. I'm restarting this prayer and this message just for you.
You're so cute. But I've got what's that girl's name? Marilyn something who wrote that book.
Marianne Williamson.
Thank you. I have 30 minutes left in that book. I was in the Bay Area and I was listening to it in the car. Holy crap.
A Return to Love.
Book. Yes, yes.
Aww.
Jaw-dropping moments. I'm like, oh my God, it makes sense.
It's so good. I message her every single day to try and get her to my virtual conference on 420.
Oh, she needs to go.
So I messaged her while she was doing a live, and she read my message and was like, "Oh yeah, send me an email to this email." And so I've been messaging her like every day since on all the platforms.
Yeah,
I know, and all of these calls when they're done, I put hashtag Marianne Williamson, and I'm tagging her. I am. She's ridiculous.
So, yeah, it's great. So I love it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, well, this message is for you then, and for everybody else. Today, how I do things is as important as what I do. Everything I do is infused with the energy with which I do it. I know that what I'm feeling is communicated subconsciously to everyone, and every thought I think creates form in some way. Taking responsibility for my energy is as important as taking responsibility for my behavior, and today I will do that. I seek in any situation to be a blessing, a miracle worker, an expander of love. That is my only goal, that I might experience true peace. Every thought, every feeling, every action has consequences beyond what we can see. I pray today that the emanations of my mind and heart be purified of fear and uplifted to the level of divine right order. May I thus be an instrument of peace. May I be an instrument of peace. I mean, if that's the only mantra we had to say today, I think we will be all good. I think that covers faith, that covers trust, and that covers our purpose and our function. So, for those of you guys that are new, tuning in from anywhere around the world, welcome. And Natalia is my co-host here. I do hog the mic a lot, but whenever she has um, things that she wants to chime in on and any thoughts, she is going to co-facilitate this with me. Okay, so what topic do we want to talk about today? Let's see. I started the day with looking at worries, because it happens as we're having this human experience. Worries show up because we have thoughts and regrets about the past. I should have done this, I shouldn't have done this. And then we're worried about how the future is going to be. We're worried about, if we're going to have enough money. We're worried about our spouse. We're worried about our kids. We're worried about everything. I worry about my dog, and this worry is basically, the course says the only reason why we will worry and that we will experience anxiety is because we've lost our faith in that moment. That on some level, we decided that this game of life is up to me. And there are things that are up to you, but there are things that are not up to you. The things that are up to you is only one thing, is the way in which you choose to see things in your thoughts, how you want to see it. And how you see it and how you choose to see it will dictate the experience that you will have. Hence, worry and anxiety. Because the world doesn't really need to be changed. Only the way that you see the world needs to be changed. And all of our thoughts produce form on some level. And it's funny because I labeled today's call with thoughts create. All thoughts produces form on some level. And I flipped to a lesson, and she literally wrote that in lesson 201. I just opened the book, and that was written in there. So all thoughts produce form on some level. Do synchronicities happen, or do you just happen to have moments where you synchronize with the flow? Right? So is it chance? I don't think it's chance. I think as we step into, there's moments where we trust and we're working in the flow, they just happen. You say one thing, somebody else says it right away. You think about somebody, you call someone, and they call you at the same time. That happens all the time. And we kind of take it like, ooh, it just happens. It's by chance. Like, whoa, chance, I was just about to text you. I was literally about to hit send. There's so many times that type of things happen. Or I was just thinking about this and it pops up. We all know deep inside that there is a world beyond the world that we see. Because the world that we see is a world that has all sorts of illusions. It's part of my makeup, my dream world. It isn't even real. Because real means I could choose. I can't choose how I see it. Real means the truth means it's unalterable. It never changes in time. The experience is always the same. But the world that we see in our minds is literally a reflection of a collection of stories and characters and ideas that we filled our minds with. And then we see the world that way. And on every single one of our calls, this will be a topic that we bring up because it's important to bring the power back to you through you, that you recognize what isn't real and what is real. And the entire course, A Course in Miracles, is about, it's a self-study guide to help you navigate through that, to help you recognize the inner wisdom, the inner voice, the GPS system that guides you in your life. That tells you when you listen that you are in the flow, that you can trust, And the Course calls it the Holy Spirit. You can call it whatever you want, but we all know there's a voice. There's a wise teacher inside all of us. There is a deep knowing inside all of us. We know when we meet somebody and we're like, ooh, this person is a little bit different. This person, and they're not different in like, how do I put it? We're not different, but we have just deepened. Some people have deepened their consciousness to a place where they're so confident in the path that they're taking, right? They know their mission. People that know their mission seems to be different to us. They're like, this guy's on a mission, right? He's inspiring because he's on the mission, or she's inspiring because she's on a mission. And that mission, if you dictate it with money and if it's guided by money and self-motivation, it's not that inspiring. And you will get confused. You will walk down this path and be confused on why you're doing it. Because the promise of this world doesn't give you what you actually want in the end. So that I may experience peace. May I be a bringer of peace. So peace is what we want. And if our actions are not guided towards inspiring that in ourselves and in others, but it's guided by money, there will always be moments where you will feel like it's not enough, where you will not be enough. See, the value of money is a great one to take, for example. $100 when we were 7 years old was so much. Oh my God, I got $100. Then it's $1,000 when you're in middle school. Then it's $2,000 or $5,000 when you're in high school. And then before you know it, $100,000 a month isn't even enough. Because there will always be things to spend it on, and your perception of money constantly is changing. So money itself is simply an idea in your mind. But we blame everything else for money instead of just the way that we see money. Knowing that it can always change in my mind. See, that's a good thing. To be guided by it's just having faith in something isn't actually good enough, the Course says. You actually have to actively remove the things that don't serve you. If you have a scarcity idea, scarcity thought about money, it's in your mind. You can change it. Like I said, at some point you will have an idea that of the value of money. You will view it differently. That means it isn't really real. All right, letting people in. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, so back to the world. There is an underlying world that we all have a knowing about. We know that there is a world beyond the one that we see with our eyes. That is not the physical sight. Physical sight shows us this dream, shows us a picture. But if we close our eyes and we look beyond people's actions, we look beyond the words, we look beyond the visage, the veil that is this world, where everyone's chasing money and there's not enough money and there's not enough resources and people are bad. There's bad people everywhere. You can't trust anybody. Everybody's out to get you, right? Every woman's going to break your heart. Every man's going to break your heart. You know, there's just so many ideas we have of the world, and that we have collected with our physical sight. We physically see it on the news. We see it on Instagram. We see it everywhere with our eyes. Now, the Course teaches us and is telling us to begin to look with your spiritual sight. Spiritual sight is using that inner knowingness to look upon the world. That maybe I look at the world and it's I can't trust it. It's scary. It's a nightmare. We will all have those moments. Doesn't matter how much money you have, you will have those moments where everything seems like, you know, is a nightmare that you don't want to be a part of. Like, why am I a part of this? Hello. So yeah, let's begin there. This call is for anybody that is, again, new on this call. It's to help bring together the material and the physical. It's to help you begin to look with your spiritual sight than your physical sight. Begin to hear with your spiritual ears, not your physical ears. Because the physical, a lot of times people are like, there's oh my God, there's a really great phrase in here somewhere. Hopefully I can find it in this while I'm speaking. We say sometimes that I won't believe it till I see it. But you also won't see it until you believe it. That's what the course is pointing to. You actually can't see it unless you believe it first. So every time that we say, let me see it, what do you need to see? It comes down to belief. All right. So anybody want to join? Let's begin. We've began like 8 times, but let's begin again. With anybody that wants to share anything. Do you have any challenges, any realizations? Maybe Brooke, what's some takeaways from A Return to Love that you got? Because I know everybody that reads that book is writing notes down the entire time. I gotta remember this. I gotta remember this.
Oh my goodness. I was in the car, and so it was hard to take notes. The coffee hasn't hit me yet, Alex. I just remember because it's a 2.5 hour drive, and I was able to. You're gonna have to come back to me to be honest. I'm trying to think. It was more about like hearing her journey and how where she came and then how she was today, and then for my own journey and just leading with love everywhere you go. And I always felt, and this kind of message is how I felt, is I feel a lot of people have humanized God. Like God, the universe, is an energy that's all around us, and then Jesus was kind of like his brother. I know they say that he sent his, first only son, or believed in him. She not cherish to have everlasting life, but the way she explained it was more like brothers and sisters, and then just I wasn't prepared to talk about my Florida. I'm still drinking my coffee, but it was just eye-opening on how I've been taught and brought up. Like I grew up with a Catholic background and a Christian background, and just hearing a lot of these things were eye-opening. It's nice to know about the energy that you're leading with love. The opposite of love is fear, and fear causes so much of the drama that happens in our lives. The war, the fighting, people think, you're looking at me some type of way. We automatically paint the story in our head. And there was just so many light bulbs that I personally related to my life that I was just like, oh my God. And I remember calling my husband, midway through the story and like literally 20-30 minutes dropping all of this stuff. Like, hey, babe, this is what I've been telling you about. This is why I love Alex's A Course in Miracles, because having church shut down my throat for so long growing up, I always tell people, like, you know what? I follow the Christian. I love the Buddhist philosophy. I follow the Buddhist philosophy. I also believe in evolution. I also believe that God is a energy all around us. God is the universe. That's why affirmations and visions are so important. You get what you put out. I believe, your vibe attracts your tribe. There were just so many things that were all encompassing. But at the end of the day, we're here for a human experience to lead with love. And if we truly, truly led with love, we wouldn't have so much of the pain and angst that we feel, that so many people feel every day. And hearing about her relationships, holy shit. All of the men that she was like bouncing back and forth, expecting them to feel her, that was never really me, but just hearing that what she did, that she wanted them to fix her. She wanted them to provide the happiness. Nobody can, but you need to be happy yourself. You need to like what you see in a mirror. You need to love yourself before you expect somebody else to come in. And marriage, for saying that marriage was a gift of God, because I joke around that's kind of barbaric. I'm always like, damn, it's the only license I can't review if I want to renew. Just kind of joking around, and how it's two people that are whole. They get together to execute God's plan and why you're here. And so there was so many things. I know I was kind of all over the place there, but I blame it that I won't have my coffee yet. But it was excellent. I have 30 minutes left. But yeah.
It ain't the coffee. It ain't the coffee.
It makes me think more.
It's like us saying it's the husband, it's the coffee, it's this, it's the job. Yeah. That's awesome. That's an awesome share. And I love just taking any course, any work, any body of writings and shares that people do. Like if you talk about A Course in Miracles, if you read A Course in Miracles, these types of things where you're in the flow writing about things and speaking about it, you can go to any part of it and catch exactly what you need, right? And I hope that my these live calls actually do that, that people can go on, because it's an hour and a half long. I don't expect anybody to go on YouTube and watch this for an hour and a half. But if I have the right label, the right thumbnail on there, somebody might click on it, fast forward to any part, and may be able to catch the message exactly what they need to hear. And that's what I do. I take the course. Now I read the course. I read the course. I'm going through the chapters and stuff. But for these, like for a Return to Love, I'll just flip to anything, and I'll find parts where it's underlined and stuff that I underlined. Just a reminder for myself. It's like my past self speaking to my future self, telling me, hey, next time you get here, make sure you read this. So I will. Literally, the key, very simply, is other people. And it's funny, in multifamily, we all say that too. It's other people's money, leverage, like it seems like success in one place has synchronicity with success in the spiritual side as well. So we're not that far off. However, there are many shiny objects that take us off the path. And there's lots of self-motivations, little self-motivations that drive us off the path. So we got to constantly remind ourselves, right? And here's what Marianne says about relationships. Well, actually, it's in the course, but she reminds us here. In every relationship, in every moment, we teach either love or fear. To teach is to demonstrate. That means every one of us is teaching at all times. As long as there is somebody witnessing you, you are teaching at all times. As we demonstrate love towards others, we learn that we are lovable, and we learn how to love more deeply. So there is no, when we demonstrate love and we show love, it isn't just for me, it isn't just for them. It's like the entire world can be healed in that moment. It's the thought, it's the witness. There are always witnessers, right? What's the saying, that the camera's always on, or the mic's always on, the camera's always on, something like that. Right? At all times, even if you think you're by yourself. And as we build our relationship with ourselves, with God, the mic is always on, the witnesser is always on, the light's always on, camera's always on. You are the witness. There is one witnesser. It's not just about being an act in front of people. It's about, I deepen this relationship with myself deeper. Let's see what else. And Natalia, feel free to jump in anytime. Okay, otherwise I would just keep talking. It's so funny when I open my ACIM book, actually, there is more stuff underlined than there is not underlined. So the course talks about the body as well. Man, it's when I open my book, it's so I kind of like have a special relationship to this book, and it's funny because we can look at everything in our lives and see like, oh, these things mean a lot to me, or I love this person or whatever. But really what the ego does with your so-called love, if you don't work on it actively every day, every moment about this love, it will turn into specialness. That's the ego's like way to screw your life up. To get you into chaos is it turns all the beautiful things and weaponizes it against you. And the way it weaponizes against you is by weaponizing it against others. And so this is why it's insane. And so specialness in the course speaks into how we give our power to something outside of us, and we say, my happiness is because of you. My sadness is because of you. You give the power to all these things. Like this course, I've had it for a long time, but if I'm not consciously working with my relationship to the book, all of a sudden this book can actually bring me a lot of angst and anger. If somebody, or you know what, if my dog eats this book up, okay, I'll probably get a lot more upset than if she chewed up Elena Cardone's Building an Empire. Just kidding. No, I just look back, first book I see. Because I've created like this special relationship to, I read it like every day and I've underlined it all over, and it's like so amazing. And I've developed a special relationship to it. Now we can look at our lives and we can see where else we've developed special relationships. To money. Did you develop special relationship to money? Did you develop special relationship with your parents, with your spouse, with your kids? Like there's expectations. As we develop special relationship, what happens is we push the line of specialness towards them. And that line is war. That line is, I dare you to cross that line. I dare you to cross it, so we can get into it. Okay. Because I just want to be able to tell you how much I'm sacrificing. I want to be right about that. Give me more appreciation. I need some respect. Right? Like just depending on what situation you're in, everything is a form of that right there. And those thoughts, the thoughts of specialness, actually produces form. It manifests into having that happen. Because if you think about it, you want peace in life. Okay, deep inside, we want love and we want peace. We want to know love and we want to know peace. So doesn't it make sense that as you want to know something, all the things that is not it shows up to show you, hey, this is not love. This is not peace. Here you go. This is not love. This is not peace. It will constantly show up. And we have to shift our perception and our relationship to triggers, to teachings, to lessons, because that's what all those things are. They are for you. And this is all that the course is about, is to be able to witness yourself. And there are amazing trainings out there that kind of takes you into that space as well. Witnessing yourself. Witnessing how you think, how you react to people, how you show up. Right? So a lot of us here have done certain personal development trainings, and I see there's other people on social that has done it as well. And it's a witnessing of how I show up. I think I'm showing up one way and other people are viewing me a different way. Without the feedback, I would never even know. Unless I begin to pay close attention to myself. Unless I begin to pay close attention to the thoughts. All right, so pause for a minute. Who's got questions? Who's got some thoughts? It could be anybody on IG, anybody on Zoom, wherever you are.
morning.
Good morning.
You were just talking about, the feedback you were observing, how you would never know, and so forth. And that's just an interesting conversation on how to interpret or even take in anybody else's feedback in terms of of course, the miracles and what's real and what isn't real and what's from the ego, and if we should even be paying attention to it or to what degree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So here's a simple answer. If you are triggered by it, okay, if you don't feel complete at ease with it, then the ego's looking at it. So really the course is saying there's only two thought systems. So you don't have to confuse yourself because, there's not a bunch of different thoughts. Every single thought either comes from a space of love or any energies attached to love, gratitude, trust, faith, compassion, understanding, all that stuff is right there, acceptance. And then there is the other thought system, which is of the ego, which creates uncertainty, confusion. Okay. Anytime you're confused and you're uncertain, you are fearful, um, attacking thoughts, defensive thoughts. Those are all part of the other thought system. Right. So there's only two. You can only look on the world with two. It's not a whole bunch. One will take you closer to peace, will show you what is real and what is not. The other one is going to bring you to a whole bunch of confusion. You won't even know what questions to ask at that point. It will bring up so much stuff right in front of in your face. When we worry, don't we go down the rabbit hole of worrying, and we end up worrying about like stuff that we didn't even think about in the first place? Like we start to think like, oh, if this happens, then this happens. Oh, if this happens, then I don't have this. And then if I don't have this, this happens. And we can go down that rabbit hole, and we can also follow and see that. And it's not just in our thoughts, it's the way we witness things. If we watch the news and we see some bad stuff happening, whether it's the government doing this or shootings or whatever happening in the news, robberies and just stuff that you see in the news that's always propelling fear for some reason, right? Fear is more popular. People kind of resonate with fear because it just creates chaos and confusion. And there's chaos and confusion in our minds. So we're like, I don't know, maybe I'll absorb this, or maybe if I can fear gathers more fear. When it shares about how this place is dangerous, these people are dangerous, the world is dangerous, fear is always looking for defense. Fear is looking to get people to get on board, to believe in something. Love itself, the Course says, requires no defense. And so our way of navigating the world is to witness our mind. If we can experience love and see love, or are we experiencing judgment, attack, defensiveness? It's to recognize our own minds in that thinking. Because there is a way to see something bad on the news and experience only love, and to exude only love, and to think love, and to send prayers. See, which one your mind goes to quickest is what we've trained our minds to do. And as we live in this world of just constant shiny objects and material things and giving all of us to material stuff, it's like we're chasing material things. Those material things never deliver what it promises. So those are the only two thought systems, be able to witness it. Today, when you see somebody on the road, you see someone, when we witness somebody raging. Okay, last night, for example, here's a good one. Last night, I got a phone call that one of my tenants, there's two people just fighting. And it's like loud. Doors are slamming. And this is with other, it's our 3 unit so there's 2 other guests, and they're like scared. They're like, somebody's saying, hey, I'm going to call the police. You're hurting me. Like just stuff like that, and we can all actually I don't know if we can all, But I know I've gotten to points of anger where I've didn't care about how other people was experiencing their life, maybe in the next units or whatever, next door. I just didn't care. I just wanted to be right, be loud, be angry. Right? So like I can have compassion. Immediately I go to compassion. Like I'm not going into, oh man, I'm gonna call the police on this guy, like we need to kick him out. Like, oh man, if I go over there, what if this person's dangerous? Right? Like we automatically go to people are dangerous. It's so funny. So yeah, I'm gonna go over there today. I'm gonna knock on the door and be like, hey, is everything okay? And try to develop a holy relationship in that moment. See what's possible. Right? And maybe we can inspire each other there.
Alex,
Yo.
in that example, when I think, oh, this person is dangerous, is that also attacking? Because at the time, quote unquote, the ego is defending or thinking this person is dangerous, then defense, and then defense is attack, according to the course. Is that?
Well, why is this person dangerous? See, the thing about this is a really good question because we say this person is dangerous. It's because somehow we've associated or watched or collected stories that being loud and getting into a domestic dispute equals somebody is dangerous. That's the dream world. That's the world that we see with our eyes. That's the world we hear with our ears. That's the dream world. It isn't really the case, but we can make it up that way. That's why that situation does not need to change, but your thoughts about it needs to change. This is why we need to just simply witness our thoughts. The world does not need to change. Your thoughts about the world needs to change. That's what the course says. So in that situation, it's perfect right there. The situation itself does not need to change. It's a neutral event that's happening. How you demonstrate and how you react to that event, you are a teacher of either love or fear. Every day we have moments to be a teacher of love or fear. Sometimes we know the answer. We know what we should do. Like the other day, I was getting my hair cut. A homeless dude walks in. Everybody's like, "Hey man, hey, how's it going? Like, how are you?" He's like, "Oh, I need a haircut," and his ears all messed up. Like, there's just I don't know, the struggles of being homeless. And they're like, "Yeah, we'll cut your hair, $10. We'll just do it for $10." I just felt the urge A to pay for the homeless man and B to tip these guys you know good money for what I just witnessed right there. Because what could have happened is, hey man, get out of here. Like you don't, don't come in here. And I used to do this at my restaurant. I used to end up, and I don't know if this hurt my business or not, but it didn't hurt my soul. I would have multiple like kind of homeless dudes at the end of the night come to my restaurant. I'll give them food, and chat with them and let them hang right there. Right. But it's also a business. So I understand both sides. But what's real and what's not real, right? In that situation is what you got to look at. Real is that this is your brothers and your sisters that sit in front of you. And there's an opportunity to see love in this moment. Not real is that this is a business and it's going to hurt my business if they hang around here. That's made up. I can demonstrate fear about it and kick them out and cause other people to feel like, oh, yeah, this is a business. See, we're always teaching and enrolling people into shit. Or I can talk about how, hey, this is people know compassion, people know love, people know the right things when they see it. But most people are not clear enough to object to fear. That's the thing. We are not actively pursuing love. That's why we will I am part Japanese. Thank you for asking. Hey, Lyra, go ahead. I know you got your hand up for a minute here. Taiwan.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to share about witnessing the ego, I guess. So I've been practicing Course of Miracle, the daily practice, right? Creating peace for myself. And last week, oh no, sorry, Wednesday, I believe we spoke about grievances, holding grievances on others, right? And one of those takeaways that I have was, oh, I think I'm holding a lot of grievances on my husband, just little things, right? So I have been trying to be aware of that and trying to create peace for myself. Well, so it's me, it's not him, it's me, right? So then on Friday, we went to grocery shop and we were getting ready to, we were almost done. And I said, oh, hold on, I forgot something. I'll be right back. Then so I went and get whatever I needed. And then I was looking for him. I could not find him. I keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Next thing I know, I found him. He's already checked out, right? He didn't even wait for me. That scenario just triggered something so bad at me. And I'm like, oh my God, but I was witnessing myself, right? I'm like, oh my God, why am I so pissed off about this thing? This is nothing, right? And I'm like, I have a choice. I have a choice. What is your choice? What is your choice? But this ego was just pushing me and pushing me, right? And I held on to it. I didn't say anything. I tried not to say anything, but I know what was happening, right? But it was just so hard to just let it go, right? And I go, oh my God, I guess I still have a lot of grievances around him. So I just wanted to share that. It was tough. It was tough. And it was, to think about it though, it was nothing really. What, I mean, so, okay, so what? He checked out without you. So now you have to go fall in line again and pay for yourself, whatever. Did it kill you? It didn't. It didn't, but it just triggered something. I'm like, oh my God, there must be something.
Yeah.
So I wanted to share
And how,
that.
and,
That was funny.
but yeah, see, it's funny, but if you think about it, what an amazing story, right? Because like when we are witnessers and when we are practicing, the course and watching ourselves, like life gives us opportunities every single day. And like, what grievances are we holding? What expectations? And think about it. When we do that, all we do is we project guilt onto the other person. We're like, here's a button. Okay. Next time that you are feeling, that you feel like something's unfair or you're not happy, press this button so that I can now be unhappy. Right. So he might have been like, I should probably wait around, but maybe she's holding grievances against me and I'm not going to take it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check out, go to the car and, leave her back there. Cause dude, we know that we shouldn't be doing that as men. Like if I did that, I'm sending a message, but if you don't get triggered by it and you don't react the way that it works next time, now they're like, oh, well, that doesn't get them. So I get nothing out of it. So now I'm not going to do it. Right. So you're teaching peace. And it's just the way you react to things is what you're going to teach. And in a relationship, that's all it's about. It's about learning that with each other and then dancing in those places. But doesn't judging our peacefulness or chaos also create lack of either one? Paradox. So it's not about judging it, right? It's about the relinquishment of judgment. If you have to sit there and decide something is good, that means you also are implying there's a different way that is bad. So it's not about good and bad. And also the Holy Spirit perspective is still a perspective. and the ego perspective is also a perspective. Neither one of those are the truth because they can be changed back and forth. Now, which one leads you to the gates of heaven? That's the question. See, the truth, the reveal itself is not up to you. That's why ultimately at the gates of heaven is the moment that you're like, I don't know, right? I don't know if any of this stuff that I've experienced is real or not. And then the gates open and God tells and God walks and God brings you home. The Course actually says God takes the last step, but also there is no step but the last step. All the other steps you've created. You've carried all this baggage with you up to the gates of heaven, and literally to enter, you got to drop the entire thing. Every relationship you've held, everything that you thought was valuable. And this is why all these relationships, okay, that we made special serves its purpose if your mind and perspective about it is correct. Correct, not meaning it's the truth, but to recognize it as what it is. That everything, everyone, every moment is a teaching and learning opportunity. And the only thing that it's teaching us is what is valuable and what is not valuable. And this goes deeper because it's not like, ooh, my wife is very valuable to me. Actually, it's showing you that this need, this wife, this idea, this special relationship that you created, you've held on. You've made a really strong, special thing around it. That's why her leaving, going to your husband leaving, going to the car will cause that much trigger for you because you've wrapped it up in specialness after specialness after specialness. But this person is not really special in that way. It's not a special love type of way, but it's this person is my teacher. The Course makes a distinction on 3 levels of teachers, not from judgment place, just from what they are. The people that you encounter in life. One, somebody that you run into, and they can, and very fast, they shift your perspective somehow. They make you happier, right? Or they make you angrier. Either way, they teach you something right in the moment. And you never see this person again. Level 1 teacher, right? Somebody cuts you off while they're driving, your anger pops up. Level 1 teacher. They just go by, or you see or you witness somebody being loving and kind and whatever, right? Somebody paying for a homeless guy's barber or a haircut. And then you're like, oh yeah, I experienced love. And then you go out and you do the same thing. And then somebody else witnesses that, and the extension of love just grows. The consequences of it beyond our imagining. That's what we started this call with. Every thought, every action has consequences beyond our imagining. Where was I going with this? Oh, the judgment part of it. Yeah, level 2 teacher. Okay, level 2, somebody comes into your life for a little bit. And, these are the ex-boyfriends, ex-girlfriends, ex-friends. People are in your life for a little bit. They, get real close, give you so many opportunities to learn. Because what's going to happen is you guys will part your separate ways. But the learning still happens continuously down the road. I still learn today about things in my first relationship. I still have learning moments that show up in my last relationship. It's no longer here in the physical form, but the learning is still available, right? It's just how we want to look at it. Level 3 teacher is like your kids, your parents, the person that you marry, and even the person you marry might be a level 2 teacher, but they provide you an infinite opportunity to learn, to be in that teaching moment, which for you, Lyra, is your husband, who just, oh my God, I hold grievance here. Oh my God, I hold grievance here. The more you guys are together, the more you will recognize all the triggers and all the stuff that you got. So it's this place of gratitude that comes from all the triggers. See, we just have to shift our relationship to triggers. We can have a good relationship to triggers. See, right now we have a relationship to triggers that is like agitation, it's anger, it's attack, it's all this stuff. Okay, no judgments. Not that it's bad, because all those are learning moments as well when you shift your thoughts about it. But how fast do we want to shift our thoughts about it? Our relationship to these triggers.
Yeah, that morning I actually told myself I was grateful. Oh, it's something for me to work on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. See, that's a muscle that you have to train, from anger and blame, because I bet a ton of like multiple moments right there, you're like, oh, if he just didn't do this, like, why would he do that? It's always like he do something or she does something, right? That's upsetting me. And then you're fighting it because you're aware, you're studying the course. You're like, oh my god, why am I so crazy? Like, why is this anger coming? Why am I still angry? Oh, but if he just didn't do that, then I wouldn't be angry. Oh wait, that's nonsense. And we go back and forth, right, until that rebound time becomes lower and lower, and the next time it happens, it becomes funny, because you're not really laughing at the situation, you're laughing at how you reacted last time and at yourself and how crazy you are. Yeah. Same thing. Angry, annoyed, they are all, it's not just a little bit angry or a little bit annoyed, a little bit triggered. I hold a little bit of grievance. All those little tiny bits that you think is just little, and you downplay anger to annoyed. Literally, when you're annoyed, it takes one little button like this for you to explode, because there's just uncertainty in this moment. Right? All somebody has to say is say one thing while you're feeling annoyed to turn into a all-out war. Like, the ego is waiting. The ego is literally planting for a war every time. The ego is readying the army. The gates are up, and waiting for somebody to step into that minefield, step into that trap, so I can unleash my entire army on them. We are all work in progress. So in this world, we are a work in progress. But in reality, nothing's ever needed to work on, because the separation never happened. All of this is part of this dream. There will be a time that this body, which is a teaching device as well, will be laid to rest. And then we will realize somebody on Instagram just goes, "You should be very famous." Oh god, that just distracted me. What was I even talking about? All right, Donna, go ahead. You should be very famous. Go ahead, Donna.
Yeah. Hey. So I just wanted to share an interesting story that talked about trigger. So many years ago, my sister was taking this course, and one of the assignments was you have to go and give $1 away to 2 people. So I went with her to the grocery store, like where they come out with the carts. And one guy was fine, but the next lady, it was crazy how much a trigger of giving this woman $1 was. She was like, I know my rights. I don't have to take that. And I never would have believed it if I hadn't seen it for myself. But it was just like the craziest things can trigger people off, just giving them. So it was a good lesson in, how people make relationships special, or even if it's a level 1 person, you don't know them.
Mm-hmm.
How somebody like that could even set you off.
Yeah. So I mean, we see those things all the time. We see things that we're just like, ooh, that's scary. Like, if somebody is just out on the street walking, yelling, at themselves, you literally like, well, he's on drugs or she's on drugs. She's crazy, he's crazy. But really, to them, how they're acting out is not crazy. It's totally justified. See, that's the insane part. The insane part is that we feel like what we're doing is justified. And then my judgment of this person is also justified. There's no difference in that. That's what we get to learn in those moments, because see, the holy relationship doesn't mean you have to go and have a relationship with this person. You always are. You see somebody and see in that moment they're walking down the street yelling, whatever. We have a relationship is developing in our mind. See, the holy moment, the holy instant is where I can see my own judgment and recognize that his is mine, that he believes he is sane and justified in the way he's doing. And then I can see myself saying the same thing about all the insanity that we do. We just do it with a little more, with more quietness, I guess. We just don't do it as loud. But we're equally insane in our minds. Like when we get angry, that's insanity. Like literally, that's insanity. And those are the best moments because you're literally so clear. You can hear all the voices. And you actually have a because you're so emotional. This is why also part of your learning is this body. Some people are like, "Oh, A Course in Miracles students, like you're just bypassing your whatever it's called, bypassing spiritually, right? Spiritual bypass. That's the word that a lot of people uses. Oh, but aren't you just spiritually bypassing everything? Well, no, because it's just about experience. You want to experience it, right? So using your body as a learning device, your emotions as a learning device, you do want to feel and experience it fully so that you may correct your perceptions around it. So that it gives you an opportunity to do so. It does not mean that we just bypass everything and say, oh, it's just all peace. It's just all love. Yeah, great. It is. But you're also in denial if you think you can just be in that state while you're in the body. But we can change our relationship to these judgments. We can change our relationships by recognizing when the ego is speaking and when the Holy Spirit is speaking. And that's why you can begin to laugh at things. That's why laughter and joy is the way to healing, is the way to miracles. Is laughing at the moment where your husband leaves you and goes to freaking, checks out. Even though you're like, I'm going to go get this one thing, okay? There's a long ass line here. Just stay right here, okay? Maybe you're taking too long. And he's like, dude, I feel like an asshole holding up this line. Right? I don't know what the whole issue is, but we make up stories like, oh, that then call me, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so that's insanity right there. It's like we expect everyone to behave in a way that serves us. That's it. You're all here to serve me for what I think is valuable. But you know what? I have no freaking idea what is valuable. That's the insanity right there. If you just waited in line, then I wouldn't be upset. And then we literally get upset at the very next thing that they do. Expectations is the problem, not the doing. I wouldn't expect you to do something I wouldn't do for you. Well, just expect nothing, and you'll always be happy with it. It's the expectations. That's the specialness. Okay, specialness equals it's the expectations. When we create specialness, it creates expectations. And the longer we are in relationship with somebody, the more specialness / expectations show up. I expect this. I expect that. Even though we don't say it in our minds because we actually judge ourselves when we say these things. But I just, I'm not even going to say it. You should just know. If you really knew me, see, we put the blame on somebody else again. Yeah. So great. Funny conversation this moment. Thank you, everybody, for witnessing it. So who else? Who else has got some cool stories? See, like when you study the course, there will be things showing up all the time. As equals. See, there is nobody else. That's what the course is saying. The first and the final lesson you're going to learn is that I am not a body. I am not my body. If we are not bodies, then who's scratching whose back? There's only ever me scratching my own back. And that happens when I scratch yours. I don't need anyone to scratch mine. Because projection, attack, anger, love will always come back. Because there is nobody else. When we accept and when we love and when we're compassionate with people, it only shows us, right? This is what Marianne said. I probably can't flip to the exact same page again, but anyways, that's what she said in the course. It's gonna come from the relationships that you have with people. The key is other people. And how you do it, how you show up for them is how you're going to show up for yourself. Is how you're going to learn that you're lovable. You're capable of loving and that you're worth loving, being loved. It only comes from you back to you. When we attack other people, what do we feel? We don't feel any better. See, that's the thing. We don't even recognize the sequence of things happening, the cause and effect of what's happening. That's what the course actually speaks about too, a lot, is the cause and effects. We got it all reversed. My husband leaving is the cause. The effect is me being upset. And the effect is me going through, my Course in Miracles and all this stuff. At some point, if you keep going down that rabbit hole, it'll be confusing for you. What's the cause and what's the effect? Really, God is the cause. And everything else is the effects of that. Money or lack of money is the effect of something, not the cause of something. See, everything is upside down in this world. If you want to see the real world, you flip your ideas about stuff upside down. Money is the cause of my anxiety. Having this deal happen or not happen is the cause of my anxiety. Having what other people think about me is the cause of my anxiety. That's the effects of you having anxiety in your mind first. You made up a whole bunch of stories about what all these things mean, and you caused anxiety for yourself. Or I cause it for myself. Just with kids, they all want these things. Do your chores, get ready without being asked. Then you get fun things. You make life easy. You make my life easy. You make yours. You make it difficult. I walk, or I make your life difficult. Yeah, it's the whole eye for an eye type of thing, right? But what is it that are we really teaching here? And this is why we're always teaching. We're always teaching and demonstrating. But when you teach that, think about everything that you teach. Does it produce more fear in the world, or does it produce more love and trust in the world? I don't know the answer to that, because what you're saying right there, Brooke, I don't know what's the outcome of it. Right? Oh, now you're ready to share. You have your coffee? Go ahead.
I'm sipping on it. But what's funny was when you were saying that, it reminded me of a part in the book, and that it floored me but I understand why she did it at the end. The guy stood her up. She did her, because this has happened to me before when I used to date. She did her hair. She did her makeup. She was ready for him to pick her up, right? 2 hours go by, 3 hours go by, 4 hours go by, 6 hours go by. He never calls her. 2 weeks go by. He never calls her. And she has finally decided, okay, you know what? I'm not going to hold this anger. I'm just going to kind of, move on, whatever. He finally calls her. And of course, her heart is, she's so happy to hear from him 2 effing weeks later, y'all, after she gets stood up. I would be like, why the fuck are you calling me? Anyways, but when he said, hey, let's go out, let's hang out tonight, da-da-da-da-da, she spoke from her heart. And I was like, oh, girl, don't do it. But her response is what surprised me. She said, thank you. So, I've missed you. I've thought about you. Thank you so much, for reaching out. But I think tonight, as a relationship, this won't work. I would love to be your friend. We can definitely be friends, but as partners, like, this will not work. And it kind of blew me. I was like, holy crap. I was like, I could have did that so many other times. And I was ready for her just to be like, what happened to you? Because for me, my problem, I have a hard time moving on without understanding what happened. Why? Like, why did this happen? And so hearing that, I was like, holy shit. She didn't get mad. She moved on. But when he did call her wanting to hang out, let's spend time, let's go on a date, let's hang out. She was kind, she was respectful to him, but she respected her boundaries. For me, I don't want you to feel like you can walk all over me, that you can disrespect me. That's bullshit. And she kept her respect and said, you know what, we'll still be friends, but no, not as partners. If you want to go, hang out, sure. So that too. And I think for me, what I have the problem with, and that's where the example with the kids is with human nature. If I'm doing all of these things for you, it's kind of like this unspoken quid pro quo, right? If I'm promoting you and I'm busting my ass, I'm showing up to all of your events, I'm doing all of these things, I'm jumping all of these oceans for you, and you can't even jump a puddle for me, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, I now see you in a different light, and then I'm inviting you, hey, I have this book signing event or something, can you come support me, just be there? And you can't, you always have some type of excuse. I don't know how to overcome that. And I don't know if that's just the way people are wired, or maybe I need to grow up a little bit more.
No, it's literally.
I struggle with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't get over things if I don't understand, like, what did I do wrong? And I do put a little things on myself. I misunderstood. Like Brene Brown says, we create this story in our mind. Most of the time, it's not even true. We assume the words, we paint this picture, and we run with it, and we gaslight ourselves. And it's not right. We shouldn't be that way. But that is definitely part of my struggle.
Yes. So here's the thing. Okay. So here's what I'm going to tell you. First, we have no idea what's a puddle and what's crossing the ocean. Okay. There's only, to me, I cross the ocean for you, and all you got to do is come to my book signing, and you can't jump the puddle. Well, that puddle is up for interpretation, because what if they come, what if they make it there, okay, and their kid's dying in the hospital, their mom's dying in the hospital. Now that pond becomes an ocean, or that puddle becomes an ocean. See, it's just constantly based on situations. Okay, so realistic stuff. Okay, local stuff. Okay, let's.
Oh my God, forget that. But like common sense situations to me that I feel like, hey, we're having this at the dinner and it's like 5 minutes from your house. You're just like, oh, I just don't feel like going anywhere. And yeah, I may not know your whole story, but if I'm constantly giving because I see value in this relationship, and you're constantly just never showing up for me, sorry, but over time, I'm just, no.
But that's it right there. What value do you see? See, when we see a value in a relationship, secretly, we're like, what's in it for me? So you're actually creating more and more specialness. And you're giving, and as you're giving, you have actually like an invisible string attached to it. And so, wait, hold on. Let me finish my thought. So you want to just recognize what takes you away from your peace. If I want peace, why would I give and have a string attached to it and set myself up for failure later? If you just give and you have all these strings attached to it, one person doesn't show up, now you're gonna lose your shit. Well, you'll.
But I just feel that if you're doing something, that you're always there for somebody, and say you're just like something that I feel would be easy, like, hey, just come over and have a coffee with me. I need somebody to talk to. I mean, we're all there, so maybe I'm not properly communicating this. All of us have had relationships themselves. And then when we ask them, hey, well, do you want to go for coffee with me? And there's nothing going on, and they're just like, they don't want to give you any time of their sort of speak. I'm not a douchebag.
I get it. I'm not calling you a douchebag.
You know, or you're just kind of like giving and giving, expecting return. No, but let's be real. Be 100, Alex. All relationships are give and take, give and take.
Yeah.
Take.
So look, that's what you believe to be true in this world. Okay, that a relationship needs to be give and take. The give and take is the problem here. There is no giving and taking that is separate happening. The giving and taking happens at the same time. Think about for a kid. Okay, let's say for a little kid, a little baby, you're like, I got this cool little stuffed animal. I know they're gonna love it so much. Like, I'm just so excited just to give it. I don't care what the kid does with it, right? I give the kid this toy, and I'm happy about the fact that I got to do that. See, that's a give take happening at the same moment. And then the kid goes and like pukes on it and destroys it or something. And you're like, oh, well, you know, you're not holding this kid accountable for all that, for your feelings of it, right? So the giving has to happen this way. The giving happens in give and forget about it. Also give in a way. Okay, this is the way that I think about it in my mind. If I was to give something to somebody and they slapped it out of my hand, would I still be okay with it? Until that happens, I'm not just going to give in that way. I don't want to give so that you can tell me, oh, thank you. Or I'm not giving to you so you can later on when I call you so you can give it back to me. You know, so all of that has to be out the way, and we have to actively fight the fact that that is the way the world is. That's not the way the world is. That's the way the world in your mind is. And this is what we get to look at. And it's not about growing up. It's not about judgment. It's just about, is it effective for you? Because then, yeah, go ahead.
Because, okay, what happens, where do you put the manners, respect, as far as boundaries? I mean, I understand what Rick's saying. I mean, when you sit and give and give and give, and everybody keeps taking, after a while, you get to the point where, wait a minute, where do you accept accountability? I mean, you have to look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I'm accountable for this, I'm accountable for that. And, you know, I mean,
yeah.
Otherwise, everybody just run over each other because nobody has manners or respect or anything.
Let's take that to the extreme. Okay. So there is in England, or, you know, I just met somebody at the Growth Con. She teaches table mannerism or something like that, in like the British etiquette thing. If she believes that it needs to be done this way and you don't do it this way, should she lose her peace and should she be upset about it? Like, you're sitting down at dinner and you don't know how to do this. Like, you don't know how. Where's the manner? Where's the respect? Because you used the wrong fork, all of a sudden it's a lack of respect. It's a lack of mannerism. It's all this stuff that we make up about somebody, which they are not. If somebody doesn't show up for you, it does not make them anything. It doesn't make them worse of a person. It doesn't make them less valuable to you or less deserving of your love. See, that's the specialness that the Course talks about. We are constantly waiting to see who does not deserve our love. And we're not giving just to give, right? Like, can you give just to give? I paid for this guy's haircut. I expect nothing in return. He doesn't even know I did it. I could care less if he knows or not. But see, that's just that guy. But if it's somebody that I'm actually working on the relationship with now, I create a specialness to it. We have a different expectation here. I'm showing up for you and I'm supporting you. Your ass better support me when it's my time. So really, that's kind of just like, I'm doing it so that I can get something in return. And you will always set yourself up for failure when you do that. Right? Can you give to people the way that you're talking about? There is no extremes. There is no different levels of things happening. Okay? We just, in our minds, our judgment makes it That's extreme. This is not extreme, but it's all the same. Can I buy people Starbucks like you're sharing here, like through drive-through? I'll buy the person behind me. It's not for them. It's for me to feel awesome. And then when I show up for somebody, can I show up for somebody so that I feel awesome? Then I've already received in that moment. But if I show up like it's a duty, like I'm making a sacrifice, see, this is what the Course says. Your sacrifice is an illusion. You think your time is more valuable at home to watch Netflix, but instead I got my ass out of bed, I did my hair, I put my makeup on, I showed up to your event. Instead of being there out of love, I'm being there out of sacrifice. And in time, that will come back and bite you because you're holding a torch to somebody. And we can say in all different extremes, in all different areas, but to the Holy Spirit, there is only one level of discomfort. Okay? It's all the same. There is no too much, too little, too extreme, not too extreme. It is all the same. And we all do it. We all fall into this trap. With my wife, she cooks every day. Okay? And we get to continuously check in on ourselves and how we're giving. Because in this moment, I may give out of pure love. But later on, a couple days later, when someone doesn't show up for me, I take that back. Right? I take it back. Like, you should do it for me because I did it for you. That's why every moment is a practice. There is no previous moment. There's only every moment that I see it as I'm doing it out of love. Right? And look, it's not an attack. It's not a judgment. Okay, so there's no the fact that we would feel like we need to defend something would actually indicate to ourselves that there must be something to think about in this conversation. And it's for me too, because as this conversation comes up, I do it every single day. I got to have this conversation with myself every day. Well, I'm doing all the work. Well, I'm doing all this. And then I got to stop myself. Whoa, 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 whoa. You're not, there is no serving anybody. God is serving through you. That's it. You're not doing any sacrifices. God is working through you, and you don't know what the result of this relationship is going to be. See, all this conflict and all this back and forth only happens because our disconnection to God happened. And then now we're over here thinking we're making sacrifices and we're doing things. And we're not getting things done back for us or to us. Because even if you did, that's not going to give you the happiness and peace that you thought that you thought you had. Because what specialness does is it increases your sacrifice and decreases other people's. So every time you do something, it becomes more of an ocean, and every time they do something, it becomes more of a puddle. Right? Like it happens. My wife cooks me food every single day. Gives me my supplements and vitamins and puts it all in a little cup and all that. And it gets smaller and smaller if I don't actively put gratitude to it. The idea of it becomes an expectation. Then what I'm doing, because I'm sacrificing and in this moment I'm experiencing it just grows bigger. So what I'm giving is always more than what others are giving. And it will never play out evenly unless we actively consciously shift that in our own minds. That it's not about the comparison of the puddle or the pond or the ocean. Like, I gave, and that's it. I give with zero expectation in return. That's a practice right there. I hope everybody practices today. And when I'm about to give, I require zero recognition, nothing in return. This is why a lot of times, like that haircut story for the barber, it just came up only because it's for the sake of making a point here on this call. But most of the times when I give, it's out of my mind. I don't even remember it. Like it's a constant training of a muscle, and it doesn't make me greater or anything. It serves me to give and forget about it. I don't need this string. Right? I gave in the moment. I got joy. I got happiness out of it. I got to feel better about myself, and done. Right? I don't need any strings to drag it into the future about it. All right. So go ahead, Antoine. And welcome, brother.
Thank you. Yeah, I think you've kind of said what I was going to say, but I'll add some color to it. So, as I was listening, there is a difference between being and giving. And so, or maybe the same, but you can help me out on that. The point is that we all have our own gifts, and my spouse or my friends' gifts are different than mine, and I never compare because of that. And so, when we're saying we're given, those are God-given gifts that we are able to give to somebody else. And if we are who we are, and we're just giving because we have that gift, and we recognize where the gift comes from, uh, then you should know that, okay, I shouldn't attach any strings to this because I'm being me, right? And so, so similar conversation here. I don't mind doing the dishes. You know, my wife not the same, and we fought for 20 years, and I realized, it comes to me so naturally. Let me just do it. I mean, that's my contribution in this relationship. And then I know the other person has a different type of gift, which they can bring to the table abundantly as well. So let me not compare, let me not judge, and so forth and so forth. Yes, there is the temptation to say, well, that person's being selfish here and there, but I look at it as gifts. And if you're sharing your gift, you're being you. That's the only point I want to make.
Love it. You just made me remember something, and I just found it. First of all, one of the first lessons of the Holy Spirit is to have, give all to all. Okay. The other one, okay, the first step of undoing this insane process that you have is the process, the reversal or the undoing process is the undoing of getting concept. This getting. Okay. The giving and getting, you have to undo that concept. Let me see if I read a little further. Okay. To have, give all to all. I said that this is apt to increase conflict temporarily. See, the conversation we just had, literally temporarily, it's creating more conflict because we need to defend our actions. We need to defend the way I've been thinking, I've acted. I've collected a whole series of stories and events which I need to defend in this moment, because if I choose differently, then all the behavior and all my reactions back then will not be justified. And I need to see, this is the breaking of the past. Forgiveness is your path to atonement and to freedom, which means you must give as before. Before you gave and then they didn't give back, or I gave too much and they gave too little. Forgiveness is taking that whole thing, giving it over to the Holy Spirit and God, and let me act and give as before all of that. Right? So in that, temporarily a conflict happens. But we can clarify this still further now. At this point, the equality of having and being is not yet perceived. Having and being is not yet perceived. Until it is, having appears to be the opposite of giving. Therefore, the first lesson seems to contain a contradiction, since it is being since it is being learned by a conflicted mind. This means conflicting motivation, and the lesson cannot be learned consistently as yet. Further, the mind of the learner projects its own conflict and thus does not perceive consistency in the minds of others, making him suspicious of their motivations. This is the real reason why, in many respects, the first lesson is the hardest to learn. Still strongly aware of the ego in yourself and responding primarily with ego in others, you are being taught to react to both, as what you do believe is not true. See, we think we can recognize our egos, but the ego goes and recognizes other people's egos. And now we're in this don't blame me, okay? Blame them, right? It's not me, it's them. I'm at peace. I'm good. I'm all good. It's them. They need to come on Sunday calls and Wednesday calls and read A Course in Miracles, and they'll get it. That only just points to the fact that you haven't gotten it. That there is no somebody else. That you're having and you're being and having is the same thing. It's not the opposite. Giving and having is not happening at different times. Just like teaching and learning is not happening at different times. When we can bring all of it right down to the now, there is just this moment. There is learning, okay? On this call, let's say all of us are dancing in the circle around this teaching, this love that we're all learning together. I may be talking right now, and you guys may be listening. It may seem like I'm a teacher teaching something, but literally we are dancing around the fire, and you being here, the way that you are here, you are a teacher no matter what, and a student at the same time, and I am as well. The learning is happening as we are dancing around this fire. We're all being affected by the burn, by the learn. What did I just say? By the love in the middle. Oh God, that was funny. That was pretty good actually. Wait, what did I just say? Okay, so yeah, the learning and the teaching is happening. And then same thing as giving and receiving. The gift is in the middle. And we're dancing around it. Receiving, giving, receiving, giving. It's just happening always right now. It's happening. Right? So I don't know. Even right now, as I'm speaking, I'm just learning. Like that, I've never painted that picture before. Yeah, probably. Right? Now we have a deeper relationship to that country song. We're like, that's what this guy's talking about. Yo.
So honestly, that was too heavy for me. I want to see if you can help me break it down a little bit. So while I'm giving, or while I'm operating in my gift, you're saying there's an element of also receiving in that moment.
Yep.
Explain the second part. How is it that I'm receiving while I'm giving or operating my gift?
Yeah, I mean, have you just gotten really excited about buying a gift for somebody or getting someone something? Let's say, for example, you know that your kid really wants a video game.
Sure.
You just know it. The moment that you buy it and that you're about to give it, and maybe this is, but that may work. All right, I don't have a kid, but I can relate. The moment you buy it, you're just so excited to give it to them. Right? It already brought you happiness just to get something. You haven't even given it yet. And then you give it. But see, the thing is, can I give it knowing that I have already received that good feeling as I was buying it? I received first. That means when I give, it doesn't matter how they react to it. It's kind of like me. It's okay. I know that my dog loves little squishy little toys and stuff. And I know her ass is going to freaking rip it up if there's any little fur things in it and destroy it. I still get so excited to give this gift, to give it to my dog. And she's excited for 2 seconds and then destroys it. Right? But we don't treat our dog the same as we treat other people. We have different expectations. See, that expectation right there is the dream, is the illusion. We do it for different, we have different levels of expectations for different people. That's the problem. And so,
I get it now. Thank you for that. I see how when you're buying a gift for somebody, you know how it's going to make them feel. You have this internal smile, or internally you're happy, you're joyful, or you're peaceful. It just brings that maybe internal reward. So I get it now. Sorry, yeah, I get it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I get it now too. That's why people can't keep secrets of gifts. No surprise, because we can't wait to share with that person. Exactly. That's another way to look at it. I mean, we get excitement. And somehow we like to build up on this excitement. So we put it in a box and we wrap it. We create a whole holiday around it and we make a whole big thing so we can leave a gift and hold this excitement moment for a little bit longer so it sits under a tree for a while. But yeah, great.
The dog example really landed for me because so I have a golden retriever and he also every toy that I've given to him he destroys and it doesn't last over a day. So I actually stopped
buying any toys for him. I only buy a certain kind of toys for the cheats alone. So what came up for me as you said that, I was like, where else in relationships have I stopped giving because in this case, the dog is not doing what I think the dog should be doing with a toy.
Yeah.
So it's so silly, but yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, I'm glad that landed, and for dog parents, we know what we mean. And then for kids, what you can take this to all the different relationships, right? Like, how's my husband, my dog? How's whatever. You guys know what I mean. Anyways, just bring it back to innocence is what is about. Yeah. Okay. So we'll wrap up here. Anybody got last moments, last shares? This was a really great call. Thank you guys for making it happen.
Animals give you the pure love. I mean, you get pure love from them. You have that's what they give you.
They're teaching you to do the same. Okay, so be a dog today. Be a dog. Be a cat. Maybe not a cat. I don't know. Cats kind of like, I feel like they're holding on to something all the time. Cats are holding on to something all the time, but dogs are love. Doesn't matter what you say or what you do, they're always love. So anyways, dog is the totem for loyalty. That's why I've always had a dog. Dogs are my reminders all the time. All right, any last thoughts, last questions before we wrap it up with another Marianne Williamson lesson of the day, reminder of the day?
This was really good, Alex.
Yeah, it was. I hope I can remember some of this stuff. I can't replay. I can't bring myself to watch any replays. It's just, I don't know. I just can't. I just hope that it will serve somebody. But be live. Live is always more fun and better, Okay. Anything else? Okay. So I was thinking to start. Also, if you have not registered for my conference next week, do so. There's my ACIM teacher is also going to be interviewed there. And if you have not registered for the link to be reminded of this call, also in my Instagram, you can do that. Go to the link tree in the bio. All right. It's to serve you and serve me. It's a reminder. Yeah.
Hey, Alex.
Hey.
Hey, it's the first time I'm getting a tune in here today. So I don't know what the Course in Miracles is the name of the book.
Yep.
By who? Who is the author?
So there's no author in the front, but Helen Schuckman is the one that scribed it. We can talk about next time on the call. If you're when you're here, just remind me to do the more of an introduction to the course. Okay, I got too excited today and just jumped into something.
I may have missed it because I got in a little bit late, but and then I had to cut out and then came back.
Okay.
My husband was just sitting here listening with me.
Good comments, Alex.
Oh, thank you. Good to have you both here.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I hope to see you guys more on here, and I will do. You can look up A Course in Miracles, and probably there's a lot of good teachers that teach it, and good YouTube. Just type in what is A Course in Miracles, and there's some good videos on that. Okay. Any last thoughts? Alrighty. Day 149. Today I seek to do one thing that interrupts a pattern of fear. Today, I seek to do one thing that interrupts a pattern of fear. Today is the day of my release. As I declare myself free of the bondage of the ego, I will do one thing, however small, to forge a path of greatness where I have formerly cowered in fear. I need not repair every aspect of my wounded self today. Rather, I need only practice the thinking and behavior of a greater good. With this, I build new pathways in my brain and in my life. Dear God, please forgive me of the habits that keep me bound. to a life I don't wish to live. Break the chains that hold me back from claiming my greater good. I will try today. Please help me. Amen. Amen. I hope. Thank you, everybody. You guys all have been amazing. Thank you for dancing around the fire of learning with me today.